Hey guys, so welcome to Adventures with Romy. I'm Romy and this is my first ever video, so I'm super excited, super nervous. So my first video is going to be a Q&A, and I always think of Q&As as being for really important people, so I feel a bit awkward doing one, to be honest. But quite a few people had a lot of questions to ask me, so I thought I'd do a Q&A answering questions about my role on the 12 Year Old Shopaholic, US universities, life in general, which I thought would be fun. So thank you so much for watching in advance, and it would be great if you can subscribe, like the video, write any suggestions you have for videos that you want me to do in the future. And yeah, I hope you really enjoy it, so let's crack on. So I've been in 3 TV shows in total. The first one I did in 2012, and that was for Channel 5, and it was called The 12 Year Old Shopaholic. And the second one I did was called The Munchbox on CITV, which is a kids cooking show, and I was a taster because I can't cook to save my life, and that was super fun. And then the third one I did was a programme called Little Divas, Tantrums and Tiaras, and that was on Channel 5. And yeah, believe it or not, I haven't actually watched any of them apart from the 12 Year Old Shopaholic because I don't really like watching myself on film, but they were all super fun to do. This question was submitted by Helen K, so shout out to Helen K. So I think I'm going to split this question into 2 parts. So the first part I'm going to answer is what it was like being filmed. And I'd say being filmed and followed around with cameras was super fun. I made great friends with the camera crew. They were so nice. They became a big part of our lives. When we were filming, we'd have them over for breakfast. They'd follow us out. And I'd say learning how a camera works and how a film set works is so interesting. Learning how all the lighting works, a white balance, sound checks, and that's something I'll always find valuable from that experience, because I've always wanted to act and I do auditions and I hope to act in the future. So having that knowledge in a kind of more comfortable way, learning it in a more comfortable way than being on a set where you have to remember lines, is really nice. I think that's an experience that so many people never have. So I'm really grateful for that. I'd also say being interviewed was so interesting for me. I found that I learned a lot about myself throughout that process. I remember sitting in my room just here answering the same question about 5 times, because you learn that even when you're walking through a door, you have to film that about 20 times, no exaggeration, to get it right so that the sound and the lighting is right. And yeah, I found that I really like being in front of the camera, that I didn't get fed up with it, which I guess is important for me to know with future plans for what I want to do. So yes, it was an amazing experience. That's the first half of the question. I say the second half, kind of what was it like being on Channel 5, a channel that a lot of people watch. And I know that they air the shows again and again. So I know that 12 Year Old Shopaholic goes on TV quite often, I think like late at night. So my mum's had loads of friends messaging her being like, oh my gosh, I've seen you on TV. Kind of weird. But I'd say that I wouldn't say I was scared before I went on TV. I didn't know what to expect. I'd say, I'll answer this slightly later in the video. In terms of like going to school and having people at school see you on TV, particularly in that context where you're revealing a lot about yourself, it's a personal thing. It was better than I thought it was going to be. I didn't find it challenging. I felt that looking back on it, 7-8 years later, I handled it quite well. Being on TV, I had some instances where like a biology teacher came up to me the day after it went on Channel 5 going, Romy, were you on TV last night? And I go, no. Romy, are you sure? No. First I was kind of in denial. I was like, we're not discussing this, we're not talking about it. But I've learned to embrace it, and if people ask me now, I'll just say yeah. So I'd say overall an amazing experience. The people at Channel 5 were so nice. Before it goes on TV, they make you watch it, I think, with a psychologist next to you, and we watched it all. How many of us were there on the show? I think maybe 4 or 5, I can't remember. And they made us watch it all together to see what our reaction was. They got candy out, goodies for us. And no, it was really nice, and yeah, it was great. And they checked up on us after. So I say it was amazing. And going on TV is a really cool experience, even if it's a bit scary. So apologies for the background noise. My mum is having a shower, firstly. Secondly, Okay, so I got chosen because I've done acting from a young age. And so you have an agent when you do acting, and they put you forward for TV shows, films, all those kind of things. But you can also be on websites where you can put yourself forward. So I joined this website called Star Now, which I would recommend to anyone who wants to get involved in the entertainment industry in any way. It's so good and such a friendly site. And basically you put yourself forward. So I think when I was 12, Channel 5 were looking for people who loved shopping, and I put myself forward for anything. Like, honestly, they asked for a man, I put myself forward. Like, I'm just there. So I put myself forward, and we were actually walking. I think we'd gone to Harrods that day, I can't lie to you. We were walking to the train station, and my mum got a phone call, and it was Channel 5, and they were saying, oh, your child has applied to be on this show. My mum was like, what? Because she had no idea. But after some chats, and like, they interviewed me, Skype interviews, contacted my agent, we met a few times at the studio, and then they decided they wanted me to be on the show. And yeah, I mean, it was so cool, so random, just kind of a streak of luck. And then CITV one, I think I got through my agents, and then Little Divas, Tantrums and Tiaras kind of came after 12 Year Old Shopaholic, because they then decided they wanted me from that. And I got a lot of auditions off the back of doing those documentaries. And so, I mean, it wasn't really difficult. I think it was just kind of a personality thing. At the time, I was kind of what they wanted. I didn't actually know the show was going to be named after me, because I was the only 12-year-old. But it was super fun. Really interesting question, actually, for me to think about as well. I'd say, overall, my mum and I had a lot of control about where we'd go, where they'd film. We'd suggest some of the places we'd go to, and we'd go there and film. But I'd say a lot of the things were staged, or they were fabricated. But I guess you kind of go into a documentary aware that that's going to happen, and that after you've been filmed, you lose control. So I had to be very careful about some of the things I'd say. That your words can be manipulated, they can cut, paste things. And some of the things I did say did come out slightly differently to how I thought I'd said them. And that one of the things you say off the whim could just become the tagline of the programme. Because they filmed us for hours. I mean, hours. And obviously the footage they get is short compared to that. So every little thing can become a big thing. So you have to be very aware of that. I'd say the prices of things, some of those were fabricated. I think they said one of my bags was £3,000. It's not. A lot of the bags, I think they said I had 50 handbags. I don't. Half of those are my mum's. My dogs, they do not wear clothes. We never go shopping for our dogs. We never do. I love my dogs, but they're not, they're not those kind of dogs. They get their food, they get their walk, that's about it. They get some hugs. But I'd say the way I portrayed myself at that age was quite accurate. I'd say it was quite natural. I tried to be as honest as possible. So I'd say it wasn't overtly staged, but there were things, and I think you have to be aware of that when you're watching documentaries, and I'm very aware of that now. There were things that were just fabricated or taken out of context. From what I know, they're all good. I have them on Instagram and Facebook, but I don't really check them regularly. But we were friends when we were on the show, and we met each other, and they're so nice, both of them. I love them so much, amazing people. And from what I know, I think they're both doing really well, healthy and thriving. So my mum was really keen on it, actually. At first she was a bit like, oh my gosh, what are we doing? But she really enjoyed it, and she's quite an up and go kind of mum. She's chill, with some things, not others, don't get me wrong. But yeah, she really loved it, and she thought it was a great experience. And I think now we both look back on it together, and we think it was so amazing that we both kind of developed our characters through this. We learnt a lot about ourselves through doing the documentaries. My dad, to be honest, wasn't so keen on it. Sorry, Dad. But again, I kind of trusted my mum with this one. To be honest, like I do with most things. And I felt that if my mum was happy with me doing it, I was happy to do it. And the thing is, my dad and I are very different. We think very differently. We like very different things. He wouldn't have fitted into the programme at all. And at first it was a rough patch. He really didn't agree with it. Some of my family didn't agree with it. But we got through that and now we laugh about it and we think it's funny. I say this is a really important question and it's one that I want to answer really honestly because I don't want to mislead people. I would say that yes, I got some hate for the documentaries, but the love and the experiences and the amazing time I received from doing them completely outweighed the hate I got. And by the age of 12, 13, I'd kind of come to the realization through various things I'd been through at school, and the various people I'd met, that, do you know what, in life there are always going to be people who don't like you. And as long as you know that when people don't like you, it's not because you've done something wrong, then that's fine. You know, of course we all make mistakes. We've all said not so nice things to people and that would bother me. You know, if someone didn't like me because I'd done something wrong to them, then that would always bother me. But if someone doesn't like me because they just don't like me, you know, they don't like my clothes or they don't like the way I look or they just don't like my attitude and we're not on the same page, then, you know, that's not a reflection on me. And so going forward into the documentaries, that was something I had to think about. And I had a lot of people say to me, you know, you've got to be careful, you're going to get hate for this. And I'm really actually proud of myself. That's one of the things I'm proud of myself for just going for it. And I think I've really overcome a fear from that, you know, overcome the fear of not being liked. I've kind of cracked that hack now, if that's how you say it. I've kind of just gotten over that at such a young age, of the fact that, you know, like everyone who does something in their lives is hated. Some of the most amazing people that we all love are hated. And in my opinion, as long as you're not doing anything to hurt anyone, you live your life. If you're doing something that's ethically, morally correct, and that's what you want to do, then you do it. And so, yeah, it doesn't matter if you get hate for that. And I think I wasn't particularly popular before I did the documentary, so that wasn't really a major concern of mine. I'd kind of already come to that realization. But I'd say to you, if you're thinking of doing something like this, or you're ever worried about doing something and worried about not being liked, just say to yourself, I can handle it. Because I told myself that. I thought I can handle all the hate I get. And I've read through some of the comments on Twitter, YouTube. Yeah, some of them are not very nice, but at the end of the day, they're people behind a screen. And I just said to myself, you know, when I do this, the people who know me are going to know me. And the people who really like me are going to like me no matter what. And if they choose to change their opinion of me based on this, then that's a reflection on them and not me. And the rest of them are just a person behind a screen. So yeah, I'd say it's tough. But in life, you just have to do what you want to do and what people think, as long as what you're doing is kind. I emphasize that. I'm not saying don't care what people think of you, like don't be rude to people, but as long as what you're doing is ethically and morally correct, then go ahead and do it, because that's all that matters. Now, I absolutely love this question, as you can imagine. So I get a lot of my clothes from vintage stores, a lot. Most of my wardrobe is from the US. Vintage stores in LA are the best. I do have designer things, you know, most of my designer things are accessories though. But I do have a Gucci t-shirt. Shoes, my shoes are mainly designer. My bags, I say mainly designer. Glasses. But clothes are a mix, you know. I love vintage stores. I love going shopping in boutiques, places off the beaten track. I like finding individual pieces that not everyone has. So, and I also love Zara. I love Zara. I don't online shop a lot, actually. I just find it a bit inconvenient and I don't trust myself to order the right thing. I like to feel the fabric. I'm quite picky about that. And I just love the experience of actually shopping. So, but definitely vintage shops. That's a big recommendation from me to you guys, vintage shopping. I would describe my style as bold bubblegum bling. Now let me break this down for you. So bold because I like bold colours. You know, if you see me wearing something, you're going to know it's mine. It's very distinctive. Bubblegum because I just like bright colours. I like candied colours, as you can kind of see from my wall, my t-shirt. And bling because I like a bit of sparkle. I can't lie to you. Yeah, I love that question, by the way. Wow, regret is quite a thing to have at the age of 18, but this is definitely an interesting question. I would say we all go through days where we'd be like, oh, I really regret staying at my school. I really regret taking that subject for A level. I really regret being friends with this person. But I think actually when I look back on the last 18 years, I realised that if you change anything in your life, no matter how small, your whole life changes. You know, everything has a knock-on kind of butterfly effect. And although I'm not perfect, I'm quite happy with how the journey has been. It's been colourful, it's been interesting. There have been many ups, many downs, but I actually wouldn't change it. So I'd say no. I don't have any regrets yet. I mean, that might be different in 10 years' time, but I'd say regret is a really tough thing. So something I try to avoid. I try to see the bright side of everything I've done, and say, well, do you know what? Yeah, I didn't really enjoy doing that, but actually I wouldn't have gotten to do this if I hadn't done that. So yeah, really interesting question though. No, not at all, firstly. I think I've had quite the high school experience. Maybe not a stereotypical one, but one that worked for me. I'd say all the things I decided not to do, I made that choice myself. You know, I decided I wasn't really going to be a party animal. I decided I was going to focus on my work because those are the aspirations I've always had. And I think that life is so much bigger than high school. You know, I think it's so important for people to realise, you know, at the age of 15, 16, that they have a whole life ahead of them and that what you do in the moment isn't necessarily what matters. Because, of course, yes, live for today, but, you know, living for today could mean that you spend the whole week watching Netflix and then you don't do well in your GCSEs, which then, you know, I think, and I'm not one of those people who thinks exams are really important, because I think there's so much more to life than that, but I think it's important that character development wise, you don't give into this kind of high school culture of you have to do this. You know, you create your own high school experience. I created mine and it's been pretty special, even though it hasn't been typical. So yeah, I wouldn't say I regret any of it. Sorry if the camera angles are different, by the way. It's because my mum came in and decided she wanted to start cleaning. Yeah, that's very relatable to most people in lockdown, I think. But back to the question. I'd say definition of beauty obviously depends on your personal preferences. For me, beauty is very much an internal thing. I see beauty in terms of humour, ambition, outlook on life. I'd say for me, in terms of what I define as beauty or what qualities I think are beautiful, I love someone who's very sensitive as a person, you know, to other people, very empathetic, but can also be very strong, you know, so an iron hand in a velvet glove kind of thing. I love that in people when I see that. So I think that's beautiful, you know, a woman who can be both sensitive and also be strong and kind of a bit of a girl boss. So I really like that. Now, I really like this question, but it's too hard to narrow it down to just one, so I'll give you a list of a few. My favourite place to eat is a place called Coffee Cup in Hampstead. Some of you may know it. You can always find me there. It's just really cosy. I love to sit there and read. I always see people I know there and I feel very at home. And I'd say my favourite areas are Hampstead, Primrose Hill, Notting Hill. I love going to Soho House, going to the Electric Diner. I love Sloane Square. Believe it or not, my favourite places aren't shops, which is kind of, I think everyone would expect that to be. And I just like the way that London has so many different districts and you can turn a corner and be somewhere totally different within minutes. You know, within 10 minutes, you can go from somewhere so glitzy to somewhere bohemian. And I just love that because that's so me. And I wouldn't say I'm a Londoner by the true meaning of the word. It's not my favourite city, but I say that London will always have a very special place in my heart. So I'd say I feel ready. I feel so ready for the outside world. I did have a good time at school, don't get me wrong. I had a lot of fun, but it wasn't always perfect. It wasn't always plain sailing. And I feel ready to move on and take what I've learned with me, both in the academic meaning of the word and the more kind of personal, you know, the life lessons I've learned. And I feel like I've learned a lot of those. So I feel very prepared for what's to come, but also nervous and excited. So some of you may know that I'm going to Stanford University next year. I'm meant to be in the class of 2024, but I'm probably going to defer due to the current situation. So I'll be in the class of 2025. I'd say, why Stanford? Gosh, well, firstly, I love California. That's the place I feel most at home. I love the US in general, but California is kind of a separate world for me. And I'd say, why Stanford? Well, I'd never really considered it because I never thought that it was for me. I just thought, oh my gosh, how would I get into Stanford? But school suggested it to me, and I'm forever grateful for that suggestion, like for the rest of my life. And I visited it in the summer and it just felt so right. The people are so nice, you know, it's really academic, but I like that. And it will give me the opportunity to explore so many other things like filmmaking, business. You know, it's in Silicon Valley. I mean, it's near Silicon Valley, so I get that opportunity to be more exposed to that world. The people are amazing. The people in my class are amazing. You know, I feel so privileged to know them, to be amongst them. And how do I feel about it? So excited, nervous as well, but I guess that's natural, but so excited. I'm just excited to go somewhere where I'm going to meet people who are kind of like me, but also be different at the same time, and to start this new chapter of my life. And I'd say the advice I'd give to people applying to US universities and choosing somewhere as their kind of first choice, like Stanford was my early decision, but I'd say think of the values that you have and think of what you want from an institution. I guess that's kind of the same if you're thinking of moving schools. You know, it doesn't matter what it is. It could be, frankly, that you want to make money, you know, so which university is really good for that? Or it could be that you value somewhere that values both the performing arts and academics, so find somewhere like that. And that's kind of what I found in Stanford. I found somewhere that values both halves of me because I felt very torn as a person between my academic side and my more kind of fun, creative side. So I'm so excited to go somewhere that's going to help me value both of those parts and use them in a really good way. Yes, I am. I must admit, I'm not very keen on the idea, but I think that in order for me to get the whole American experience I've always wanted and to be able to meet new people properly in a country that I don't really know, I just think it's much more sensible for me to take a gap year and go to Stanford in September 2021, where things are hopefully slightly more normal. It's so nice to know it's there waiting for me, something to look forward to, but I am very lost for plans as to what to do this year. Hopefully more YouTube videos if you guys like this one. Maybe write some songs, look for internships, but it's very kind of rocky at the moment because of the current situation. So by all means, if any of you guys have any recommendations, please write it below. So I really like this question. So I'd say I'm mainly inspired by women because I feel like I can relate to them more. So controversially, very controversially, don't shoot me down, I am inspired by Margaret Thatcher's personality because of her perseverance and the way that she held her own on the world stage and managed to convince people that women could go into politics. And I have so much respect for that. I've read so many of her biographies and I just think she's an amazing person. I'm also inspired by Madonna, by the way she reinvents herself and the image she puts out to people. I think she's an amazing role model for young women. And I'm also inspired by, closer to home, my mum, my grandfather, for the perseverance both of them showed. And also I'm inspired by my former headmistress, who sadly passed away last year, but she really inspired me and so many others and taught us that, you know, you can kind of do anything you want to do. And one of the most amazing quotes she told us was, you must do the thing you think you cannot do. And part of the reason why I think it's okay to love fashion and be academic at the same time is because of her. So I'm forever grateful to her. So I started a YouTube because I had a singing YouTube before and I'd always wanted to do more funny videos or videos that kind of show my personality more. And I think lockdown is the perfect time to do this because A-levels are cancelled. I don't really have much to do. And I just thought it'd be a great way to make new friends, spread messages I want to spread, and also get to know myself better. So I hope it's super fun. So I'd say one thing most people don't know about me, I mean, it's kind of two, but I'm going to twist the rules a bit. So my mum is Persian, so she's Persian Jewish, so I'm Jewish, and a lot of people don't know that about me. I don't think I look very Persian. I mean, I wish I did, but I don't think I do. And the fact that I've just had a very international upbringing. So when I was younger, I lived in Holland, I lived in Milan, and then I lived in London. And so I'm half Irish, half Persian, and I'm Jewish. So yeah, I'm a funky combo. I feel like it would be music, because I'd say music makes up most of my life. I'm a music scholar at my school, and I play the viola, violin. Sorry, I don't want to say viola first. Violin is my first instrument. Piano, guitar, and I sing. So that takes up most of my time. And I listen to music all the time. I sing my own songs. I've written my own song. It's called Out of the Dark, and you can now find it on Spotify and YouTube and iTunes. So please give it a listen if you can. Yeah, I'd say music is my life. Like, it makes up so much of my life. And I find it so calming. It can make me feel things, some things I don't want to feel, but I'd say it's an amazing thing. So I'd always love to talk about it. I'm always up for a chat about music. Okay, straight answer, laughing. Laughing gets me in a good mood. If I can make someone laugh, if I can laugh, I'm in a good mood. Like, honestly, I could be having the worst day at school, and if someone makes me laugh, my day turns around. So guys, if I'm ever in a bad mood, make me laugh. Laughing has superpowers. Sophocles, I love you so much. Disclaimer, I'm not an expert. I didn't get into all the schools I applied for, but I can give you a little bit of advice coming from someone of your age. I'd say it's really important to know that your application doesn't have to be perfect. You just have to show you've tried. Like, I had SAT subject test scores that were not perfect, but I put them forward to show that I tried, and I think that probably worked in my favour. You know, they're just looking for a real person. They're not looking for a robot. If someone says you can't do it, if someone says, oh, that school is out of your range, do it anyway, because the process is kind of unpredictable. You know, you don't know who's going to get in, and they're not, you know, okay, the acceptance rate may be low, but they're not going to find someone like you, and you may be what they're looking for. So just be you, be a real person. That's the most important thing. Don't be shy about being you. Don't feel like, oh, you know, they're looking for someone really scientific, you know, because I thought with Stanford, oh, they're looking for someone who loves computer science. I didn't mention that once. You know, I was honest about the fact I love creativity, I love the humanities. And obviously work hard for your scores, but don't see that as a be all and end all, because it's genuinely not. There's so much more to you than that, and I know they say that and they do mean that. So just, you know, keep it real and you'll be fine. And I'm going to do a video on this next week on some more kind of in detail tips, and if you have any questions that you want me to answer in that video, then please put them down below. My Common App essay was about my glasses collection and the way that that kind of portrays my different personalities. So yeah, I mean, very kind of honest. I didn't mention anything about, you know, my academics, not even my extracurriculars. It was just about something that seemed very ordinary to me, but something that other people pick up on. So I'd say advice for Common App essays is to ask other people what they think about when they think of you. You know, it could be your height, it could be your eye colour, it could be a funny word you always use, it could be a food you like to eat, and work on that and look into what that means about you and how you can portray that to an admissions officer. Just keep it honest, keep it real, and keep it you. Guys, we made it. So question number 24. Thank you so much for watching. I know how long this video is. Please like, comment, subscribe, share, and stay tuned for more videos. I hope you all stay safe and well during this crazy time, and love you all loads.